11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think the winner won it.
Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Los Santo.
Welcome to Hispanics Causing Panic with your hosts, Calix and D-Style Boxing.
What's going on? What's going on? Thanks to those joining us live and to those that have been joining us on the archive. If you're listening on archive, hit the like button. Another edition of Hispanics Causing Panic. This is episode 135. I'm being joined by Calix Boxing. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Your two hosts here in the building. You know what I mean? Tony Boswell, is it going? I went through hell and back to make this show happen because my laptop was like, you ain't going to do a show today. And I was like, yes, I am. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I am. I'm already having car problems. I don't need laptop problems. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But we got it done. My laptop was causing panic, Alex. You know what I'm saying?
It is what it is. We still move on.
We're moving forward, that's for sure. Deontay Wilder, Carlos, came out and he said, I haven't even watched the fight, but see, told everybody he was cheating. Everyone, I'm getting all these texts telling me, this confirmation that he cheated. Where'd the power go? The power out of nowhere was nowhere to be found. Now he couldn't hurt an MMA dude. He definitely cheated against me. What do you think? What's your reaction? This was Benson put on Twitter, but it's a Blue Blood Sports TV interview. You know what I mean?
You see the small violin?
Yeah.
It's still, yeah, if it wasn't for Mark Braylon poisoning that water, who knows? Deontay Wilder would be the undisputed lineal champion right now. But this is getting so exhausting. It's so tiresome.
Right.
We take it with a grain of salt. But he has to do this. Why? Because, one, he has to cater to his base.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he needs to do. Because you've pointed out, clear and concise, in a clear and concise manner, that they were not used to getting that O. They were not used to L, so this is how they had to react to this L. Yeah. That's number one. But number two, it's got to be humiliating when you lose 3 times, but officially 2 times, twice by knockout, when you see that same guy who did that to you go in against a rookie, a rank amateur, and almost lose. And on top of that rank amateur takes those punches that knock you out well. It has to be embarrassing. Like, he has to do it. He has to do it because his base is out there doing their thing, and then he has to join them, right? Because if he doesn't,
I wonder
where are you,
texted
Deontay? Where are you, my king? Where are you? Why aren't you coming out here complaining too?
I like how he's like, I'm getting a lot of text. I wonder who's texting him. it's not that hard to figure out. You know what I mean? Who was texting the champ? Oh yeah, there's proof that he cheated. Like, how the hell is struggling against another dude proof that he cheated? Like, I still can't quite wrap my head around that. Oh, because he landed a right hand and Ngannou at the very beginning of the fight and it did nothing.
It has to be, though, because the fans of Deontay Wilder, they like to keep fights on paper. I've explained this. They don't like fights in reality because they love the O, and they can't have that O threatened. So in doing that, they always have to play the triangle theory. So the triangle theory does not work out well for them here. It's, Fury knocked our guy out twice. And then this UFC fighter who's been retired for 22 months comes off the street and takes those punches well and arguably beats him, performs better than I performed against him in 3 fights. Mm-hmm. We can't have that. We can't have that. The alternative is let's just complain about cheating.
Shout out to everybody. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Shout out to Santo, Javier, Tony Boswell. We got Chicano Prophet in the building. Lyman, is that what it is? Okay. There we go. The Twinkies have went to Wilder's brain, he says. Anthony Sanchez, how's it going? If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Share this video on our social media platforms and all that good stuff. Look, I don't know what else to say about Wilder, bro. It kind of is what it is, but he's had one fight. In like how many? One round in like 2 years. It's crazy.
2 years. Yeah.
Like he needs to worry about getting active again and fighting again. And I don't want him to work on, like, when we say work on your defense, we don't mean like when Alex says something about him on Twitter that, you know, his supporters come out and defend him. Like, no, we don't mean that type of defense. We don't mean like defend his honor, like whatever y'all think you're doing. Like, we're talking about, like, you know, keeping your hands up and parrying the shots. That's what we mean when we say work on your defense. Like, I think they listened to us, but they didn't know what we were talking about, you know? Speaking of inactivity, Calix, it's confirmed, bro. Jermall's going to surpass 1,000 days of not defending his middleweight crown. He's going to surpass 1,000 days because his next fight in a couple weeks, or next week, I believe it's like, 2 weeks away? Yeah. His fight against a small welterweight, it's going to be at 168 pounds, bro. A one-legged welterweight. It's going to be at 168 pounds. He ain't going to bother to make 160, right? Yeah. And here's my other issue with it. Look, they're getting personal. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Like Jose's like, tell him stop being a pussy. Stop bringing up your. Like, I knew this was going to happen as soon as he came back. And it's not going to be the first guy to bring this up to his face, bro. It's not. He's going to have to deal with it, right? And why are you sweating already? You pussy, this, all that, the B words and P words, or you name it, right? And of course, he's like, well, I ain't sweating you. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock out your brother. Like, he's, you know, there's some bass in his voice a little bit, you know, like Jermall's like, you know, they act a little different than the Charlos when they're big favorites, you know, they just act a little different. But then he's like talking about how you don't got to make 160 and you don't care about the WBC belt. And then it's a trophy to him. Imagine how stupid, like, Mauricio Suleiman is that broad that's been waiting for that dude, okay, in prison and shit. The first day he comes out, like, he goes bang some strippers at the strip club, right? That's what Mauricio Suleiman is. You stupid idiot waiting at the altar. Shit, I'll wait for you, Jermall. You're my champion. And he just turned around and fuck the belt. I'm kind of glad Jermall said that, to be honest with you. Good. That's what you get, Mauricio, okay? You know, that's what you get, bro. What are your thoughts on that, Calix? All of that, the inactivity, he's going to surpass 1,000 days more likely, and then he doesn't even give a fuck about the belt, and then the whole thing with Jose Benavidez, like, he's barking, you know, he's growling, bro.
I woke up to DMs on Twitter, and people sending me Keith Idek reacting to some of the stuff Maul said yesterday, and then Suleiman's reaction to that. And just acting once again that Maul's a victim here, and he didn't actually mean what he said yesterday. We had a good conversation. We had a nice conversation. He doesn't mean
he is that broad that's waiting for that asshole, huh? He is.
Yeah. So it's like, can Maul come out and say this? Can Maul come out and say it? Why do you have to come out and say it? You're not the promoter. Why are you coming out and saying it? Let Maul speak for himself. And when I hear Maul speak, he doesn't give a damn about that belt. And the other part about this D-Style is not only is he saying come get the belt tomorrow, he's saying this fight's at 163. It's at 163 for a reason. I don't give a damn about the belt. It's a 10-round fight. I don't give a damn about defending it. And on top of that, I want to fight Benavidez next at 168. I want to fight the better brother at 168. So I have no intentions of ever defending this belt that you've gone out of your way and bent over backwards and keeping in my hands the past 2.5 years. Why is this? Why? Why are they doing it? He must have something on them, I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But the sad part about this is, and you brought this up. And by the way, Jermall Charlo's nickname is Hitman. I don't know why he hasn't been hitting anybody the past 2.5 years. But you brought this up. You brought it up on the roundtable last week and did a good job of doing this. The reason the sanctioning bodies are around, one of the big reasons, is to be a voice for sort of voiceless fighters, right? The 4-belt system, like a Julius Ndangu, right? The only reason he gets an undisputed shot at Terrence Crawford is he's given a shot that he wouldn't have been given over in, I think, Russia, then another unification fight in the UK, and then an undisputed fight against Terrence Crawford, but he would have never been able to start that process if it wasn't for a sanctioning body saying, look, you can climb our rankings, no matter who you are, where you come from, what your marketability is, you can climb our rankings and go through this process in order to become more marketable and more famous that way. That's one of the reasons the sanctioning bodies are there. So what's happening here is Carlos Adames is sitting here for over a year. Like, all right, what am I paying sanctioning fees for? What am I waiting around for? What's going on
Adames has
here?
been friend zoned as a champion. Like he's
Been friend zoned, and he's been, I don't want to say the word, but he's been kind of cuckish about it. Let's be honest about this.
Man.
Like, I don't want to say the word, but I want to see him be like a courageous victim and speak from the mountaintops and say, why is this guy able to keep the belt? When am I able to get my shot? Suleiman, give me my shot. He shouldn't be able to keep this belt. And on top of that, he should be able to walk up to his advisor and say, hey, the same guy that you're advising is sitting on that belt that I should have a shot at that would make me more marketable and give me more leverage in the future. Why are you allowing him to do that at my expense? So be a little less cuckish and speak out for yourself, because if you're not doing it, why would people, the public, be doing it? I'm less concerned about Adames with that in mind, and more concerned about the sustainability of the sport when sanctioning bodies are willy-nilly, depending on wherever the wind is going that particular day, showing favoritism to the fighter and not worrying about precedent. And I want to, real quick, compare and contrast to another thing going on. And, you know, we disagreed with this on the podcast the other day, but you brought up a great point, is Ring Magazine, by contrast, they have a panel, they have a transparent process with precedent in mind. And you spoke about this. Like, I don't know if it's a good precedent to have number 1 versus number 4 fight for the lineal title at 112 pounds. I don't know what kind of precedent that says. So even if I disagree with that, I'd much prefer that process. I'd much prefer rigidness, law and order, than a sanctioning body just saying, even if I disagree with their ruling, then a sanctioning body, as opposed to that, saying, whatever. I like this guy. We're just going to give him the belt. Mental health, whatever. It's sad to see.
Well, look, like Adames is that dude that likes the girl, right? And like when she needs something, like, you know, like, hey, I have a leak. Like he shows up right away. Like, you know what I mean? He shows up, he goes under the thing, fixes the leak for her. You know what I mean? She thanks him and like just pats him in the back and all that, you know what I mean? And he leaves. You know what I mean? And does everything possible. Like she should be like, I'm kind of hungry. Like it takes her food. Like, you know,
not Red Lobster either. Like the top.
Yeah. Like, and then she still like critiques him. Like you're 5 minutes late. Like I'm hungry. Like
I said, no garlic.
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? Jermall's just that dude that like, so whatever, bro. The dude could be in prison for a whole year and she'll wait for him. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, bro. like Adames is right there. He's like, yeah, I like being your interim champion. It's an honor. Like.
Speak out, bro.
It'll be one thing like if you won the interim championship initially, okay, but like you've been the interim champion for a while, bro. You're the one fighting. You're the one defending the an interim belt. And this dude ain't doing nothing. He don't even want to bother making the 160-pound limit. That is a minimum requirement of a middleweight champion of the world. You won't even do that. You're making a dude come up to fight you, and you won't even do that. This is unbelievable to me, right? And there's Mauricio Suleiman, like again, like that battered wife, just defending it. He didn't mean that. He didn't mean to punch me. I fell. I fell to his fist. Like, okay, Mauricio, you fell to his fist. He called your belt a trophy in a very kind of like a. I have it here in my possession.
It was dismissive. It's dismissive.
You know what I mean?
And it's not just this one little example here. It's what we've been saying about welterweight for years. It's like, dude, can y'all stop just waiting in line quietly in a queue, like politely just waiting? And can you demand that Errol fights Bud? And somebody do something so you can fight for a title? Like, can somebody get something going here? It's harder to speak out for fighters like that if they're not doing it themselves, if they're not doing it by actions. But at the same time, it's a mess. God, it's a mess.
100%. So I don't understand it. Alex, let's get right to it here. Last night, Jermall Charlo fought a guy called Nicolas Molina. He obviously overwhelmed the guy in the first round, and you just saw the difference in levels, like right away. And Jermall Charlo looked. We could only grade him based off of what we saw and who he was fighting, but he looked solid, looked sharp. I don't know. We have enough data to kind of assess how he's going to do against other guys. But what do you think of his performance, and how do you think this impacts an already kind of competitive and exciting 130-pound division?
I like the 130-pound division. The only way it impacts it is, he's going to be a name to get on somebody's resume, like an easy name, because that's what it's going to be. The guy that they kind of wheelbarrowed into the ring last night, it's just nothing to go off of. The only thing I was upset about is by the time we were trying to get to the betting odds last night, and by the time we got to them to bet on this fight, it was too late. They were already pulled. I was mad at myself for not betting the knockout for Herring, but nothing. It doesn't show me anything, but the one way it does impact is it gives him another name of a guy who used to be a titleist, and another similar name to a Shakur Stevenson as far as a resume, that type of thing that somebody can beat in the future, and I think beat up pretty bad, because I think Herring at this point is well past it.
Look, he's up there in age. I believe he's 38 years old. Not a lot of work here. I kind of wanted it to go around to kind of see where he's at with the weight cut, with how are the reflexes looking as the fight progresses. There's a lot of those things I personally wanted to see, but we can't fault him for, I guess, ending it early. It is what it is. The opponent just couldn't do anything, and there was nowhere for him to run in that small. That was like a 10-by-10 ring, bro. That was one of the smallest rings I've ever seen.
So that was 16-by-16. You and I were talking about that last night. We'd like to see boxing just across the board go to smaller rings, right? It would force more action.
Oh, of course. I 100% agree with that. 18-by-18, they fought in those for years at the big house, the Garden.
Let's do it again.
And I believe they should go back to that again. I will say this, though. I think, it's going to be tough for him to become world champion again. I have to be honest, though. If he's able to make the weight healthy, and he could give some of these guys some fits. Like
who though?
I just don't see Cordina like, oh my God, Cordina's gonna wash him. I don't know. Like I don't know if he'll wash him. Like I think he's a couple of fights before we talk about that, by the way. But I want to see him step up and kind of see where he goes, and if he earns a shot, he earns a shot. But I can't. If there's a division to come back at, it's this one.
He's got one more payday in him, and I think that's why he's back, right? He's got one more payday.
He's got one more payday in him, and don't be shocked if he pulls off an upset. Like, I'm just saying.
See it. We disagree there. I don't see it.
All right. Well, I wouldn't like this division has a lot of good fighters, not a lot of crazy fighters. Like I think,
Harry's not one of those good fighters though. At this point, he's just not.
I don't know. We didn't see enough to know. Like we'll have to wait and see where it goes. But man, I know he's been wanting that Cordina fight, or at least they were tweeting back and forth about it. Those two. So do I want to see that right now? No. But if he gets a couple of wins under his belt, sure, why not? My opinion, But shout out to Metcalf. She got the I think international IBF belt against Yoshida. It was a pretty good fight. She boxed very well, given the fact that it was a small ring. She got hit with a lot of right hands, but she made some adjustments later in the fight, and I think outworked her opponent. She finished strong in the 10th. And I saw it 7-3 for her. It was a pretty good performance. Shout out to Christine. She was actually in the corner with her. So
shout out to her.
them. You know what I mean?
She did win it. That was a close fight, but she clearly won.
She clearly won, I think. But at best, I could maybe say 6-4 for Yoshida at best.
Yeah.
At best for Metcalf, I could see up to 8-2, to be honest. But I had it 7-3. It is what it is. A lot of close rounds in there. Almost all the rounds that gave Yoshida except one were really, really close. But back to the drawing board, and can only get better from here. But she's up there in age, though. She's like 40 years old, or 39, something like that. So hourglass, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Calix, talk to me about this kid right here, brother.
I like him, Callum Walsh. So last week when I dropped my activity or inactivity video that went viral on Twitter, or as Elon calls it, X, Tom Loeffler was one of the people who responded to me and started following me on Twitter. And his response to me was, we got this kid, Callum Walsh, who, and he's saying all the right things right now, Loeffler. He's saying, we're going to build him the same way we built Golovkin. We're going to do it through activity. The only way you can build fighters is through activity. They get it, right? We talk about Tim Tszew's team getting it. And I think these are the fighters that are going to win in the future. People point to Ryan Garcia's being stars and possibly a Tank Davis. It's yet to be seen how big of a star is, but those are more exceptions to the rule. The guys who are going to win in the future are the guys who don't have these high minimums and keep themselves free and become more marketable fights by staying in people's faces and fighting where they belong as well. That's part of it. So they're bringing them along, much like they brought along Golovkin, is activity. This will be his 4th time fighting this year. And I don't know, by the way, how good he is. I just don't know. It's too early to say where the ceiling is. This is supposedly going to be a tough fight for him. He's a 4-1 favorite in this fight. So we'll see on that. But you have more forgiveness if you do the right things. You don't necessarily have to hit that ceiling to be a marketable and big name fighter in the future. If you have a built-in fan base, which he does, Irish guy is going to be fighting in New York. They're doing the right thing. They're keeping him in people's faces. He's getting knockouts up until this point. So you keep building off of that. And I'm hearing all the right things from his camp. And that's why I say keep an eye out for him, much like we're saying about Tim Tszyu, right? Is Tim Tszew's there now, he's going to be a superstar. To me, it's as obvious as the sun coming up tomorrow morning. And they're doing it through the right things, and Tim Tszyu looks more the part each fight. So if Callum Walsh seems like one of those guys as we watch him fight and say, this guy really is talented, he's talented, then this is a potential guy that can be a superstar in the future.
There's a lot of look, I haven't seen him fight that much. I've seen some highlights here and there, but like you said, it's kind of early to know
it's way too early
where to put him, the trajectory. That's why he's a prospect. He's being built. I do find it's crazy. Like the connection with Dana White is so random to me. Like you would think
Dana White's been flirting with getting and promoting some boxers, but this is UFC Fight Pass as well. So he's interested in the Irish connection and building this guy up as a star. He's also interested in the angle. Him and Tom Loeffler see eye to eye on activity and building up guys a certain way. Loeffler is sort of a throwback in that.
Well, I was going to say Dana has a history of, he started as a manager in the game, right? So he worked with a lot of boxers, and then he went to the MMA world. Before Zuffa bought it, he was working with Tito Ortiz and I believe Chuck Liddell, other fighters, and then so he comes from that world, so I guess he understands it a little bit. But it is interesting. I mean, look, if I was a young prospect and a big name like that already is getting behind me, that would give me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, well, at least I know I'll be seen. I know I have visibility, and I'm going to have a financial backing. So that helps a fighter immensely, right? So we're going to see where this goes, man. So I am going to be tuning in, and it is on UFC Fight Pass, this fight.
Yes.
So UFC Fight Pass, where you could watch Callum Walsh, everybody,
Southpaw can punch, and we'll see, because it could be,
he's 6
these
feet,
things
6
this
foot tall.
early. These things this early, it could go sideways, but he doesn't necessarily have to be the most talented fighter in the world. He just needs to be entertaining.
Yeah, like you could go either way, right? And if you have both, even better.
He's in a good division too, 154.
Yeah, 154. Now, again, we don't know if he's going to outgrow the division. We'll see where he goes from here. He's 6 feet tall, and we'll see. You know what I mean? Hey, Calix, let's talk about the one and the only Bivol. I saw a headline that said, Bivol envisions himself fighting at cruiserweights. And I said, I just want to envision him fighting. Like, anybody. Just get in the ring, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Fight anybody. I don't care. Envision yourself fighting a light heavyweight, a super middleweight. Just envision yourself fighting anybody and make that come true. Speak that into existence. That's what I want to see. So yeah, whatever.
You know that little video on Instagram of the guy that no one's gonna believe you until you do it. Like, just do it, bro. We do live in a world where don't even tell me about it. Tell me when it's signed. Tell me when it's sealed and delivered, and it's whatever. But I've seen some interviews of him. He's been doing some interviews lately, right? He's doing the rounds. He did a face-off with Beterbiev over there in Saudi Arabia. Beterbiev kind of called him out. Bivol didn't look good in that exchange. Doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying, like, he kind of like, well, him, he says he wants fight, but then he don't want fight, and Bivol just like stayed quiet a little bit, I just like, bro, that was your chance to say, what do you mean I don't want the fight? You know what I mean? Like, but whatever. It could just mean he was just slow to process it, I guess. But then he's doing the interview with Marco saying, I don't think Canelo was ever serious about the rematch. Of course, I wanted it in my weight class, but there were never any serious offers. And like, what are you talking about, bro? Saul Canelo Alvarez offered the same amount of money as he did for like you made in the first fight. In September, you would have made another $6 million or whatever it was. What are your thoughts?
It's sad to see because momentum was there, and I was getting excited about him last year. And I had people like Nando in the chat, salute to him. Calm down, Calix. Water always finds its level. Calm down. And sure enough, he was right. It's sad. And like you said, he just needs to get in the ring. So the cruiserweight thing, though, is weird because he has unfinished business at light heavyweight, number one. And he also has super middleweights who are kind of like, Canelo has fought him. I don't believe Benavidez when he says it, but he says, I'll fight him. And he fights close to his weight, right? So he's a smaller light heavyweight, right? Or a more natural light heavyweight. Right. So he's not like a guy like Benavidez who drains himself well down. He fights close to his natural weight. So I don't know if cruiserweight translates to him. He has the skills to do it. But that's the sad part about all this is you can say he has the skills to do it. He has the skills to do a lot of special things in the sport. After he beat Canelo, I had him number 4 pound for pound and the potential to rise, but you never capitalize on that. He's one of these guys who didn't seize the momentum that he had in the sport, and he's just sitting there wasting away in his prime, and I hope he gets it together. I do. I really do. I genuinely do hope he gets it together.
I never seen like such a healthy individual, like so inactive. Like
I know it's
just like, bro, you're perfectly fine. You're in your prime. You're like you just
great fighter.
Like, and I'm like, you just wasted a whole year of your prime. Like it's gone. Not because you had an ACL tear or like a muscle tear or like some fractured bone. He hardly got hit in the Canelo fucking Zurdo fights. Like I'm not saying he didn't get hit, but what I'm saying is he wasn't in a war or nothing.
No.
And it just self-sabotage it, bro.
Not only did he have the best year last year, he sort of easily did it. I mean, I didn't think the Canelo fight was that close. I didn't, and I'm a Canelo fan, and he easily beat Zordo, so he kind of like just cruised through it. And you're like, okay, this guy's special. He's special, and then he just disappears.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not one to tell a fighter what to do, but I would get rid of that manager, bro, because all he did was cost you millions. That's all he did. That's all he did.
Yeah.
If Canelo says, I want to fight you 175, that's where I want to fight, let's go. I'm not saying you have to take that fight. What I'm saying is, what's your alternatives? Are you trying to make the Beterbiev fight? If you would have fought Beterbiev and he made less money, I'm not going to be one of those guys, oh, he's so stupid. He made less money fighting Beterbiev than fighting Canelo a second. That's not me. What I'm saying is he's not doing anything. Like, he's literally just like he went to Saudi Arabia, like Beterbiev is punking him over there. Or at least that's how he came off to people. I don't think he did, but I know like the Nandos of the world probably think Beterbiev punked him. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I just don't think it's Beterbiev's style to talk back. You know what I mean? It's whatever. But did you see that exchange, by the way, Alex?
I did.
Did you read too much into it, or like, because people were like, "Ooh, Beterbiev got him."
No. I was just more having fun with the reaction to the reaction to that thing in general. It's two guys. It was so modern day boxing. Two guys in a suit or tuxedos show up and stare each other in the face for 30 seconds, and people start getting excited about a fight that we have like, why at this point even expect that those two guys are going to get in the ring after how their two teams have moved the past few years. And even Beterbiev, like, I have him in my pound for pound still based off of his talent, but even that, he's barely about to fight within the year. He's always injured. It's fun when he gets in there, but am I supposed to expect things of a guy who's pushing 40 and we barely ever see him? I'm just not going to get excited.
For sure. Hit the like button, guys. If we get to 40 likes by the end of this one, that'll be nice. If you're listening on the archive, hit that like. I'd like to get it over 60 in total, so that'll be much appreciated. Like, don't be inactive with the like button now. Like, don't be a Bivol about it. You know what I mean? Like I want you to do what Bivol did in the ring with it. Like, jab it. You know what I mean? A nice jab to the like. Let's get those likes up. You know what I mean?
Right.
The cruiserweight comment, I know it's kind of comical to even talk about him fighting at cruiserweight when he's not even fighting. But do you envision a guy with that style? Like we talked, he's not a big guy at 175, so he's going to be a much smaller guy with 200. That doesn't matter. A lot of those guys cut to make 200. Mm-hmm. Do you personally envision him being in the mix at cruiserweight, or will he need like a perfect, like a kind of like a Battle Jack or a Makabu type of dude? Like, you know what I mean?
The Division's got a lot of guys like that in the top 10. So, he can fit in. Yeah, he can grab a title there. He could possibly even unify there.
Got the Zordo.
But the thing, I'm saying this stuff about Bivol, it speaks to, I think he's a special fighter. I think he's a versatile fighter, that he has a type of style that he can move up and do those things. I do. Now, when we start talking about an Opatai, I think that's a great cruiserweight. And when we start talking about those guys, I'm like, no, you better stay away from a guy like that. Stay away from a guy like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, stay away from both of that, at least for now, right? I just don't know if his style, like, look, well, let me take that back. I think he could outbox and do it at cruiserweight. The question is, like, once they finally do hit him, how is he, even on the shoulders, like, how is he going to take that? A lot of those guys could probably move him with the punches. You know what I mean? So that'll be very, very interesting. You know what I mean?
He took Canelo's body shots and arm shots well. I mean, he took them
but
well.
Canelo's not a cruiserweight.
I understand that, but Canelo still has thumping power. Look at what he did to Kovalev. I'm just saying, like, I think he takes power well. The better gauge of that, of whether he's ready for cruiserweight, would be Beterbiev. If he takes Beterbiev's power well and wins that fight, then he's ready. Like, that's a natural guy to fight before he move up. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, I think there are smarter moves out there if his team is smart. I think there are smarter moves out there. Take the Canelo fight. I mean, Canelo was ready to fight you, dude. Like whatever he says, jump at it and go get that fight again and get your big money payday. Or if other super middleweights are genuinely saying like Benavidez, I'll fight you, then go down to 168 and fight him. I mean, why not?
No, I agree 100%. But I just want to see the guy back in the ring because he's a very talented fighter, So, but Callis, well, why don't you ever talk about him being inactive? You're only talking about Wilder and those guys.
I got that again last week from another big account, by the way, on Twitter. So why am I not calling out European fighters, Eastern European fighters, and their mismanagement? Like I am. Apparently, you just missed it, though. I don't know.
And some people just have selective hearing and selective vision.
I guess
you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. But what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Jake Paul will be fighting this guy Andre August. I'll be a liar if I told you I know who Andre August is, and I don't know who he is. I did, do a little bit of research on him. He did lose to someone very questionable, like a guy that currently has an upside down record. But he's still 10-1. He has 5 knockouts. We just don't know the level. Like the level of opposition isn't there. But I'm okay with this because at the end of the day, Callis, he is a boxer. He does have a very similar record to Jake Paul, very similar knockout ratio. This is what I've been saying. I want to see Jake Paul fight boxers and move his way up, right? And he actually put out a statement where he said that. He said, look, my focus right now isn't on being pay-per-view. It's on building myself to become a legitimate boxer because I want to become a world champion one day. Now, people might laugh. And if he was still fighting an MMA dude or celebrities or whatever, I would be laughing as well. But this is, if you are going to start that journey, this is what you need to do, right? And in fairness to him, he's doing it. I have no complaints. It looks like it's not going to be pay-per-view. To be regular DAZN by the looks of it. And I got no problem with it, Calix. No complaint.
Yeah, so positives. The positives are regular DAZN, and he confirmed that. You get this with the subscription. I think their team confirmed that this will be on regular DAZN. So I think he's getting something that other fighters are not getting. That hey, let's stop worrying about the minimums and let's worry about the long term here. Is if I can not only get he's already got the casual base, and he does for money. He doesn't need this, right? So then you start to see this, and you're like, all right, this is his 3rd fight this year. So he's more active than 96% of ESPN's top 100 pound for pound, right? He's more active than 96% of them. So activity. This is the 2nd real boxer he's fought this year. I don't know how many rounds this fight is, 8 to 10 rounds. I'm not sure. It's an 8-rounder. So
it's
I'm assuming
the first 8-rounder of his opponent, by the way. He's only done 6-rounders.
So I'm assuming this guy is handpicked. I'm assuming he wants to beat this boxer and say, I beat a real boxer. So that's part of this. But he's also saying the right things like, look, I'm going to leave the little crossover circuit alone, and I'm going to take this boxing thing. I'm going to take it seriously. This is, what did he say? He said, this is the road. The road starts to a title right here. He's saying title. So he's saying things that real boxers are not saying. He's saying, I value titles. I value activity. I'm not going to put this on pay-per-view, and I can, but I'm not going to do it. So there are positives to look at here. And I'm just, I've never been high on his talent, obviously, and I haven't followed his career closely, but I'm kind of looking at it in the peripheral right now. Is all right, I'll just keep an eye on this and keep track of it, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, look, and I know there's going to be some obvious critiques people are going to have. But his opponent is like, he did fight twice this year, or no, one time. I'm sorry, he fought one time this year, in August. And then he did have like that span of inactivity, but before that he was pretty active. But like, come on, bro. Like, look at Richard Torres, a former Olympian. They're putting him in there with no hopers, like left and right. Ollie Walsh, no hopers, left and right. Like, Jake Paul could get a couple of these, to be quite frank. to develop, to train more. If he gets 2-3 of these, I'm okay with it. Like, I just am.
And what did I say last year? We sort of had a dust up about this a couple of years ago, I think on the round table. I think Maestro was bringing it up. Is the guys Jake Paul is fighting, like the Nate Robinsons, are they that much different than, say, a guy that Torres is fighting right now?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, maybe, but this is the key difference is Jake Paul was putting those fights on pay-per-view. And that's what makes this fight different is it's not on pay-per-view. It more resembles what we see from prospects coming up. So it makes more sense to us.
Look, he's fighting a guy who's a boxer, and maybe I could see some people being like, well, why doesn't he step up? And God, they're not going to throw him in there with better people, guys. You get what I mean? Like that's not going to happen. Like, you got to be patient, and like we are with all the other boxers, quite frankly. I'm okay with this fight. And to answer your question, yeah, I'm pretty sure this Andre August guy would fuck up Nate Robinson in a boxing match. I'm pretty certain. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but one of the critiques always was from a lot of people, even myself, you'll fight some real boxers, bro. Mm-hmm. I don't care if they're journeymen. I don't care if they have upside down records. I said, just if you're going to be fighting and active, fight those guys. And that's what he's doing here. He's fighting a 10-1 guy again. Not very impressed with the record, but that's okay. For the level where Jake Paul's at, this is the type of guy he should be fighting.
And we do have to give credit where it is due too. Is he's also a promoter, and one of the cards that was canceled, he paid everybody on his undercard. So he's done some of the right things. That's good.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we're going to see where it goes. Like you said, is he handpicked? If we're honest, the reason we have matchmakers because they're always handpicking opponents for fighters to make them look good. Mm-hmm. So he has a right to handpick opponents, and while he builds himself up, eventually all the roads meet. They all cross at some point, and he'll have to face some tough guys if he continues this route. So we'll see where it goes. I applaud Jake Paul for doing this. A lot of the guys criticizing him, even still, like they'll never do this. You know what I mean? So I give the guy props for getting in the ring to begin with, and I give him props for now. Okay, he's saying, you know what? For someone who's an influencer, Calix, to be saying the things that not even boxers say is a little discouraging to me. Mm-hmm. Not from Jake Paul's end, but from our boxers' end.
Yeah.
Like, he's saying, look, I keep saying I want to become world champion one day, so I need to change my direction of how I'm doing things. If I want to have a realistic kind of way of, if I ever want to become world champion, I need to start fighting real boxers, move my way up the ranks and earn it, right? We don't hear boxers talk this way, bro. Mm-hmm. We just don't. We just hear, oh, what has he done? And he doesn't do anything for me. And like all this other shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So maybe boxers will see that and be like, well, Jake Paul's doing it. I'll start talking like a boxer too. I don't know.
We'll see.
Let's talk about this weekend's fights. But before we do, it's a special weekend, Calix. You know, anytime Navarrete fights, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Feliz
Navarrete.
Prospero año y felicidad.
Feliz Navarrete to you guys, to your loved ones, to everybody. Because Navarrete is back, bro. Speaking of active fighters, he's active. He's staying active. He's going to get in the ring with Conceicao. At first, I'll be honest with you, I was not excited about the fight. I'm kind of getting tired of Emmanuel Navarrete fighting like Stevenson's trail of defeats. Like, I'm kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's how I'm feeling about it. Maybe they're working on some type of fight between them. But Conceicao does have a style,
yeah,
that he hasn't really seen. He hasn't really fought a guy that could box his ass off like that since Ruben Villa. And I thought Ruben Villa won rounds against Navarrete. So maybe just stylistically, this could be a lot tougher than we think. Conceicao not going to stay in the pocket with him. Conceicao not going to be loading up on big shots, and where Navarrete could see them coming a mile away, like against Valdez. And Conceicao is going to be on the move. He's going to force Navarrete to be the guy, to be the aggressor. And can Conceicao do something here? Can he pull off the upset, in your opinion?
Possibly. Possibly. It's a dangerous fight. And by the way, this happened next Thursday night, and we talked about how we like Thursday night fights. We like weeknight fights. So
the 16th,
yeah. So I like that. I like that we have a really good card next Thursday night. When it comes to this fight, it's a dangerous fight in a couple ways. There are only 4 fighters, I chronicled this last week, that are going to fight 3 times this year in the top 100 as far as ESPN is concerned, top 100 pound for pound. And Navarrete is one of them. What did we see last year when Bam and his team were ambitious and said they wanted to fight 4 times? That third fight, and Bam's team even said it, I think, quietly behind the scenes after that fight, is we may have been a little too ambitious there in the type of fights we took and the amount of fights we took. And we don't like to hear that as fans, but sometimes that third fight, these fighters are a little worn out. I hope the opposite is happening here, and he's sharp. He's sharp from the activity, because we've seen the opposite this year. Is the fighters who are inactive are the ones looking weak. The active fighters, like a Lee Wood, are the ones looking strong. And I think that's going to show up with Navarrete ultimately next week, is I think he's going to look strong from the activity. Robeisy Ramirez, the same thing. He's going to look strong from his activity, much like Tim Tszyu and Lee Wood, the only fighters who have fought 3 times this year. But stylistically, Conceicao is not a guy you go out of your way to pick. He's just not. Like, he's a tough style, and he can make your night a nightmare. So this fight right here, though, it'll tell a lot about where Navarrete truly is as a fighter. Am I too ambitious putting him on my top 10 pound for pound, which I have him number 10 right now, based off of what I've seen from Valdez and his overall resume through 3 weight classes? Or will it be one of those years where, yes, he had the win against Valdez, but it's a tricky year because he had the fight against your guy Wilson. And now if he has a shaky performance against Conceicao, it's like, whoa, okay, maybe his year wasn't all that great. So it's going to be a tipping point for him. Ultimately, I like the activity of him. I have him on my top 10 pound for pound based off of activity and what he's done through multiple weight classes now and his performance against Valdez. And I hope he capitalizes on that and keeps that momentum going.
Here's the thing. Wilson, Valdez, Conceicao, all 3 of them fight nothing alike.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like they have very little similarities. If any. I don't really see any that stand out. Different fighters, each one. So
that's the top rank way, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like he's fought guys with really good amateur pedigree. Like Ruben Villa was one. He just got some knockdowns on Ruben. Ruben he got back in the fight. People forget that Ruben Villa got back in that fight and was winning rounds. He won a lot of the quiet rounds though. So everything people remember is when like Navarrete was knocking him down and beating him up pillar to post in some of those rounds. But like I had it really close, by the way, that fight. But Navarrete here is going to go in there with someone he can't really take much. Even he could watch film on the Shakur fight. Like, Navarrete doesn't fight like Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to beat him. I remember going into Valdez fight, he's going to beat Valdez. He's going to have to beat Valdez his own way because he doesn't fight like Shakur. And he did just that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. I got Navarrete winning this, Calix, and I think he'll win by decision. I think Conceicao at some point is going to become very negative in this fight. And just
he's never been knocked out. Yeah, he's never been knocked out.
Yeah, he'll look to survive, I think. And kind of is what it is. And if you look to survive and just shell up or something against Navarrete, that guy could throw over 1,000 punches around. I mean, it's not enough. It isn't enough. And hopefully we get that Navarrete Shakur fight next year. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to it if it happens. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those 130-pounders want to move up. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, you're gonna leave? Oh man.
There are a lot of good fights you can do with Navarrete. I mean, not only a possible Shakur fight, which I'm sure he wants, but let's say he stays at 130 and a guy like Lara goes up to it. Like, can you imagine him versus Lara?
Yeah,
That's another
no,
fun fight.
100%. Oh, and by the way, just one more time because it's such a special occasion, just a special. I mean, it's a week of celebration, Callum.
Feliz,
Navarrete!
feliz,
Navarrete!
feliz,
Navarrete!
próspero año y felicidad.
Feliz Navarrete to you guys, your loved ones, and everybody. The only ones that don't like Feliz Navarrete are the Australians after what happened to Liam Wilson. But other than that, it's still a good gesture of good faith. You know what I mean? I'm saying. Feliz Navarrete. Throw out your mouthpiece, Navarrete. But yeah, I think Shushan, you were talking about Liam Wilson. That's the guy that almost shook up the world.
Wilson.
Almost shook up the world. You know
And I remember you before that fight, you're saying, this guy Wilson, I'm telling you, you might want to keep an eye on him.
You might want to keep an eye on him, that's for sure. Still keep an eye on him. For those wondering, he's being built back up. He's being kept active by No Limit Boxing. They just had two guys in Australia literally fight on a card, and the winner, like Wilson was sitting ringside. They were announcing how the winner's going to get Liam Wilson. You know what I mean? Like, that's promotion, bro. Like, that's how you do it. You know what I mean?
Old school.
You know, like, and that's that. So, hey. Oh, really quick, I almost read. Shakur Stevenson against the Los Santos.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Calix, like, this payday should have been Martin's. Like,
yes.
Martin's he must be thinking to himself, like, damn. He don't even have a fight, but they didn't put him on that card, huh? He's not even on the card, the final Showtime card.
He doesn't have any card. He doesn't have any date, nothing. He's got no network.
It's like, I'm thinking the dude must have an ace in the hole. He don't even have a 2 in the hole, bro.
Nothing. He's got
So what you got? You got a jack card at least? What you got? Nothing?
He's got nada. Nothing.
Oh no. What you
do you think his style, De Los Santos, you think he can jump on Shakur?
I don't think he has anything for Shakur.
Nothing.
I don't think he's a bad fighter, but
It's
I think
good.
Shakur's going to dominate this fight. I think it's going to be too fast. Shakur's also finishing guys at these weight classes. He's pressing the action more, which is making Shakur better and more dangerous. It's not making him an inferior fighter because he's more aggressive. Like, boxing fans to get that shit out of their head. You know what I mean? I see him stopping De Los Santos late. That's how I see it. I think Shakur's timing and his he's just one of the best, if not the best in the game, rolling shots. At the last minute, right when you're going to land, he just moves out of the way. He stays in position at all times. He's well balanced. I think I mentioned the jab, really good jab. Puts punches. He's starting to put punches together better. If he needs to, he could box on the move. You know, he could do that. He hasn't really been negative lately, but he's capable of that. I just don't know what De Los Santos could do to. I mean, maybe you have an answer. What can he do? Like, well, what do you see that could potentially maybe give Shakur fits or maybe even beat Shakur?
He would have to jump on him early and have success. But this is the thing. And I remember I had a conversation earlier in the year with a manager for several fighters. And we were talking about Shakur because he has some fighters in the same division. And he said,
what do you mean? You're on the inside? We're outsiders, Callum.
Oh, yeah, we're outsiders.
I
don't know why I brought this up. We're outsiders. But he said something that stuck out to me.
You're talking to people on the inside of the game? What?
But he stuck out. What he said stuck out to me because it was like counterintuitive of what I was thinking going up to that point. But it made me think. He said the guy who beat Shakur, and good luck to this guy, by the way, but it's going to have to be a measured guy with lateral movement who can box. It's not going to be the guy that people think that is going to jump on him, has a lot of activity, because Shakur can sort of pick that guy apart. And I was watching an interview earlier on today on Twitter of Shakur. Somebody's asking him, I forgot what outfit it was asking him, what do you think? How do you see a fight playing out between you and Tank? And he said, Tank's got power, but all the guys he's knocked out jump in. They just jump in on him. I wouldn't be like that. I wouldn't jump in on him. And I take advantage of fighters jumping in. So it would be a calculated boxing match, and I would just wait for him to jump in. He says something to that effect. So I don't know if a De Los Santos can win that type of fight. I don't even know if he can win an activity type of fight. The activity type of fighters, the guys that will give him trouble in that manner, that would be able to jump on him early, would be a William Zepeda. It would be a Motataya, a guy that we talked about earlier in the week. Those would be the guys that would give him trouble in that manner. But it made me think maybe those aren't the guys ultimately that would beat a Shakur Stevenson. Maybe it's the guys who are calculated and are movers and would be able to, it would be a stink fest, right? It would be a chess match, but maybe are able to match him in that way. And like I said, I don't know who that guy, I don't know who that guy is.
I want to see him against a swarmer,
me too. That's what I do want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see those matchups.
I'm sure that's true. Like, I think, remember, the guys that gave Floyd problems were very unorthodox, aggressive guys, you know? So, like,
I'm with you. I want to see our theory tested. I want to see, I think it's more the versatile, not versatile, more of the aggressive, ambitious pressure fighters. And that's why I like what I'm hearing from William Zepeda's team, at least publicly anyway, and Amorataya's team saying, we want that fight. All right, let's see it. Let's see it.
Look, De Los Santos, I saw his fight. If you remember, back in July, he fought Joseph Adorno, and I thought that was a good performance. He boxed very well, but the one thing I noticed is that he couldn't put Joseph Adorno away, right? Now, granted, it doesn't mean everything, but I also saw like Elvin Rodriguez like outbox Joseph Adorno, so it was a good performance, but I just didn't see like, that guy's gonna give Shakur problems, like, and then the Rayo fight, who I've interviewed on here. I don't remember if you were on that interview or not, but we had Rayo Venezuela on the show, and I'd like to have him back. I thought he won the Colbert fight, but that's not here nor there. That was a type of fight that Shakur's not going to engage in with you. Shakur's not going to be trading with you, and when he knocks you down, get more aggressive. No, Shakur's always going to, even when he's aggressive, he's smart about it, right? Yeah. He's I don't even know if smart's the right word, but I think he's concise about what he's doing. There's a plan behind it. You know what I mean? Like, Shakur doesn't go by his intuition. Like this right hand's gonna land, damn it. No, he is very scientific about what he's doing in the ring, even when he's aggressive. So that's gonna cause, I think, De Los Santos a lot of problems. I think Shakur stops him late or gets a decision, brother. That's how I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the guy, right? It's we've both been around long enough to know nobody's unbeatable.
Now, so to your point,
Shakur's beatable. There's going to be somebody out there. It's just, who is the guy, and this isn't the guy. Look,
can De Los Santos clip him with something, especially early, and wobble him and finish him? Yeah, it's possible. Like that's there. That's going to make the fight intriguing very early on. I would bet that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that's going to occur. MAW, much appreciated, brother, with a $5 Australian. 5 for the live, 4:30 a.m. here, and I can't go back to sleep, but at least I caught another good live. Subscribe, share, and smash the like button, folks. Absolutely. All right. Calix, one more topic here. Maybe not your favorite of topics, but Sean O'Malley was on the MMA Hour. He's a current UFC champion. And he was talking about, Ariel brought up, Haney, what's up with you and Haney going back and forth, and what's up with you talking to Shakur, and a couple of interesting, I don't know, did you get a chance to see it or no?
I haven't seen it, but I
heard so just to kind of tell everybody, especially anyone who hasn't seen it here. So, first of all, the guy admits that he's never even seen Haney or Shakur fight. And he follows up by saying, he actually says, maybe I should not talk shit to actually see them fight, and then I could talk shit because he was saying he was gonna knock him out, and you know what I mean, like whatever, right? Then he asked him, "What about a fight with Haney? Like, was that talked about?" He said, "Look, he said he went with the UFC people, whatever that means. I'm assuming Dana, I guess." And that they told him, look, no one knows who Devin Haney is. No one knows who Shakur Stevenson is. These guys are not pay-per-view attractions. We would only consider it if it was a big event that's going to make marquee, like big money. And the name he brought up was Ryan Garcia, right? And they said, that's a fight that they said that they'll consider because that's a big name. It will be a big pay-per-view event. No one knows who Devin Haney is, so we're not going to even bother with that. That's what he said. And then again said, I haven't even watched Devin Haney fight. Is that true? Is it not true? I have no idea. With that said, Calix, so maybe it won't be like O'Malley against the champions, or but like if Ryan fights a Raleigh for the vacant belt or something like that, or when Raleigh comes back and he's reinstated as champion, and let's say he beats Raleigh, and then what do they propose a fight with O'Malley and Ryan Garcia? Are you okay with that crossover fight?
No, I'm not okay with any of them.
I saw you nodding your head. Okay, all right.
No, I'm not. And I'm gonna give Ryan the benefit of the doubt.
When I said they could do a Ryan Garcia fight, Calix went like this.
No. I was nodding my head because it makes sense what Dana's telling him. It's like Devin, Shakur, but Ryan's a name. Look at the money they brought in for the tank fight. So that makes sense. And I know what you're going to say is, why not do it if it makes money? I just, as a boxing fan, I don't want to see it. I want to see boxing things. So I'm going to give Ryan the benefit of the doubt because despite what people think about his performance and stuff he's done the past couple of years, I do like how he's behaved this year, other than, some of the bickering with his promotional company, some of the other dumb stuff he said. He has said he jumped through every hurdle to make the tank fight. The tank fight happened because of Ryan Garcia. And his promotional outfit came out, 3 knockdown rule, and said that. We told him it's not a good idea to do this, not a good idea to do that. Let us represent you. And Ryan said, make the fight, make the fight, make the fight. So we got to give him credit for that, even in a loss. And he's also said, I'm not going to fight this fight in December on pay-per-view because I want more people to access my fight. It's not a pay-per-view value fight. So, and he's also said he's willing to take on guys, or he's alluded to it, the bigger name fighters in the division at 140. So for right now, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until he loses that. And I'm just going to say that this O'Malley fight is not going to happen. I hope that's the case anyway. I hope the positive that comes out of Fury versus Ngannou flopping pay-per-view wise, or at least that's what we're hearing through the grapevine, is that we see less of these fights. I hope that's what happens.
It did less than 100,000, brother. It flopped. And in the U.S. it did. And the UK sold more, but UK doesn't sell the pay-per-views for as much money.
The only fighters who are going to be able to, boxers who are going to be able to take advantage of this crossover market would be the heavyweights with Ngannou, Canelo, and Ryan Garcia. That's pretty much it. That's
Tank?
pretty much. I mean, possibly Tank, but I think it's going to be Ryan would be the bigger name that would be able to take advantage of that. But I hope he doesn't. But
no, I'll
just go back to that D-style. I hope we have value-based fighters who see that even with the money there, they see that as beneath them. Canelo has seen that. Canelo's been that way up to this point. I hope he stays that way, and I hope Ryan is that way too.
Look, I just really quick point. O'Malley did mention that he felt Fury won the boxing match against Ngannou. So just for whatever that's worth, But
the only other thing I saw from this interview, by the way, is this real fight in a real
I was going to mention that, but before I get to that,
go ahead.
So the one thing that he did mention was that people need to take note is he said, "Do I want to box one day? Yes. Do I believe I could win the boxing fight? Yes. Am I a little delusional? Probably. And he also said, I'm not really looking to do it to like 4 or 5 years down the line. Like they're thinking ahead. Like they're not thinking immediately right now. So I want to point that out. You can make a point about the real fight thing.
No, I just, it gets nauseating, right? These are sports. These are two different sports. And it was my problem with this a decade ago when the whole Floyd versus Conor thing. And then even before that, when you had the talking heads from both sides. Oh, we're real fighting. No, we're real fighting. It's the reason I love boxing. And I've heard you say this. I got to give you credit for saying this a decade ago is limited by design, right? So I like the fact that hands are supposed to be free, that we can see guys punch each other with limited. And it's why my brother has said that UFC has become more popular is we're seeing more stand-up game, right? Is UFC wants more stand-up game and less rolling around on the ground and wrestling, much like we saw with George St. Pierre in the past. As we don't really, this whole, which is more natural fighting and which would win in a street fight, it all depends on the situation, right? I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure if Deontay Wilder got in a street fight with a random UFC guy, he'd win just by hitting him one time in the head, right, with the right hand. But if the guy gets a hold of Deontay Wilder, obviously he wins. So I don't know who wins in a real fight. I'm just tired of hearing about it. Like, let's get back to UFC guys. And you can like both, and you can like one or the other. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's fun, but let's get back to UFC guys doing their UFC thing, boxing guys doing their boxing thing, and let's just enjoy our sports. I don't need to hear who wins a real fight.
Yeah, I mean, this thing about the real fight and it's not a real fight. Like here's the thing. None of it's a real fight. In real fights, there's not a ref in the middle. Like you don't get to warm up. You don't have a 3-month camp. Okay, you don't get to warm up in the back and stretch. You don't get to put spandex or shorts on. You don't get your hands taped. Okay, they don't put Vaseline in your face, and you don't get announced by an announcer right before, and like, you know what I mean?
You're not taking performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, there's not like a dude in the middle saying, "You ready? Are you ready? All right, ring the bell." Like, there's none of that. Like that's not a thing.
There's usually like a bunch of ratchet chicks trying to break it up.
Yeah, like most fights I seen was push, boom, motherfucker, and it's over, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and there's people around, there's people in the way, and then people get soccer kicked in the head, and then nowadays it's like there's no honor now anyway. Like, dudes are shooting each other. Like, dude.
The best thing to do.
I'm not gonna get out of my car argue with a dude.
No, the best thing to do is stay. This will be both of us saying this. This is the HCP motto: stay out of street fights. Stay out of it.
That's sad. Like, what are you doing? Like you're gonna get shot, bro.
We want to see everybody. We want to see everybody get home safely.
What do you do if I take you down? What if I have a strap? What if I have a fucking knife and I stab you in the rib? No, but it's not that. It's that. They create these scenarios like if they get an argument in their front lawn, the MMA guy would win. Like, what? Do they will have boxer shorts on or what? Like, what are we doing here? Right? What's with these weird scenarios that you guys are coming up with? Like, what does it matter? At the end of the day, none of it matters, bro.
No.
Like it's a lot of the guys that talk like this have never been in a street fight.
No,
I can tell. All right, and I've been in fights where I woke up I was blacked out, bro. Somebody kicked me in the back of the head. Like, it happened. Like, it is what it is.
And I tell my son, he's just turned 9. I already tell him, mind your business, and just walk. I mean, you want to stay out of street fights. Stay out of street fights.
Like, oh yeah, I would hate to be a boxer because, well, all you got to do is buy a gun or Molly. That's all you got to do. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I would hate to just have hands. I don't think Crawford hates just having hands because he's got a mansion. He's got millions in his bank account. You're wanting the money they got. See, that's what this is really about. that they look at that and they're like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish, well, we deserve that money more because we're real fighters. They're not real fighters. We're real fighters. Like, that's not how it works. Dude. All right? Like in the streets, like Mike Tyson would bite you. Okay, like who knows what Mike Tyson would do in a fucking street fight, right? And it doesn't matter. I really don't care who would win a street fight. I just don't. It doesn't matter to me. Like, you know, I'm not one of those guys that looks up street fights like on YouTube. Like, it doesn't intrigue me. You know what I mean? I like to watch world-class athletes fight under a set of rules that are meant to make it more difficult, not easier. Okay? That's what it is at the end of the day. Just like it's kind of like you have to dribble the basketball. That's a rule they make so they can make it harder for you to move around the court. Right? It's like with anything else, the snap in football, you name it. Okay. I honestly feel like most people really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? They just don't. I would even concede that most people do feel the MMA fighter would win a street fight over a boxer. And I don't think, like, after that fact that they don't care. Like, they move on with their life. It really doesn't matter. Right? And then the other thing, like they come over here, they want to box. Jake Paul knocks him out, and then it's like, oh, wow, but it was a real fight, though. But it wasn't a real fight.
Yeah.
If I challenge Calix to a game of basketball and he starts dunking it on me, right? I can't say, yeah, well, you beat me at basketball. You didn't beat me up, like, but you challenged me at a game of basketball. Like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? If Calix challenges me at a game of chess and I checkmate him in 10 moves, I probably would do, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like,
probably.
Calix can turn, oh yeah, but if this was a fight, I'd fuck you up. Like, what does that even mean, bro? Anyway.
You don't want to fight me, though. You don't want to fight
me.
And
one more thing, Calix, like this whole thing of fighter, like the term fighter, like MMA dudes think they own the word fighter. You know, like, I'll just tweet something like, oh man, this guy's the fighter of the year. And I'm talking about boxing, right? But he doesn't even know how to fight in the ground. How is he a real fighter? Like, what? What are we supposed to call it? Like, they're boxers. No. Boxing is the name of the sport. All right? Just like we say football players are playing, we don't say they're footballing, right? Basketball players play. We don't say boxing. They're playing in the ring. No, we say they're fighting in the ring. And I know the whole thing is stupid to me. But with that said, Calix, any final thoughts? We ran through all the topics here.
I would say my final thought on just something we talked about earlier. My main point is we talked about inactivity last week, and let's highlight the guys who have been active. And we do have an active fighter fighting tomorrow. And when I say look out for Callum Walsh, it's not to say I think this guy is super talented. It's just too early to tell, right? It's to say, look out. If this was the stock market, it may be a stock you want to look out for right now. It's on the ground level and it may end up being something. If this guy, on top of knocking people out, on top of being active and his team saying all the right things, on top of having a built-in fan base and being a draw, and doing all the right things up until this point, if he ends up being talented, or if he's not that talented and he's still entertaining, this may be something that's going to get off the ground and you wish you got in on early on. So that's why I say look out for Callum Walsh. I'm not saying this guy is going to reinvent the wheel in a boxing ring, or he's a pound-for-pound fighter, or he's a guy who's going to be even top 5 divisional fighter.
Let's heard it here first. Calix said he's the future.
I'm just saying it may be something you want to keep an eye on, because one thing I know for sure is this guy is going to be, it's a guy you're going to see quarterly.
All right. There we go. With that said, guys, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Roundtable tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern here on this channel. I'll see you guys there. This is D-Style Boxing. Keep it boxing. We're out of here, guys. Peace.
11,